Hey folks, John Cantera back with you. I do apologize. One of the big things about the diner here is that every now and again, that grill just flames up, and it did this, and it burned us, and it burned our connection a little bit. So we had to sit there and take care of that. I've already tipped off the fire marshal, and everything's good. So settle down. Today, this one's on us. And go ahead and get back to our discussion with Alex and Eric. Uh, okay, let's go back to where we were. I think when we got cut off before, we were starting to talk about when you and I first met on Stop the Scam. Jeff had just left us, and I think it was him leaving that burned that burger on the grill.
Yeah,
But
my
yeah,
Wi-Fi too. But
yeah. I wanted it well done, but not extra well done. But anyway, um, when you and I first met on Stop the Scam, you guys were focused on rolling out your verification platform to brokers, specifically to help brokers identify the real driver that was actually picking up their load, so they can get connectivity as to what's actually happening. And then after we had talked a little bit, we kind of shifted gears a little bit towards the shipper because you guys have pointed out, the shippers were the ones that really seemed to, if they care, I think was the words you used before, Eric. If they care, then they start moving towards fraud. 'Cause let's
yeah,
face it, brokers and carriers, we're all about fraud. We're all about fighting fraud. But shippers, on the other hand, until they get burned, they either don't care or they don't have the liability or what. So this really targeting them has made it, I think, a far more valuable program, but also a little more difficult on the sales side too. So what's your journey looked like in trying to get yourselves out there to the point where you now have a functional product, and what's your future looking like?
yeah, absolutely. Yes, you're definitely correct. When we had the situation of strategic cargo theft happen against one of our clients that me and Eric were working for, we thought about everything through the broker lens because we were obviously acting as brokers, realizing, gosh, if we could just have something at the shipper, but sell it to the broker. I'm like, I would pay for it. Just let me put it at the shipper's, front door and work with it and have that interchange back and forth. But we realized through all this, the last a year and a half, is shippers control the freight, the SOP, who they work with. And so it is a weird spot, as we've all like kind of the LinkedIn community is, I think I've learned a ton from there. That's where I found you at, where I've met like Dale Prax at Freight Validate, connected with Danielle over at Descartes, like learning that other people are trying to figure this problem has honestly helped a ton. Because me and Eric, we do have hands-on experience working with shippers as brokers and also as carriers with our trucking company. So I would say just listening in to what shippers really want. And I think we've had to put a little bit of a caveat. It's not just stopping cargo theft. That's what we do. If you ask us, hey, what's On-Site do? We're helping shippers prevent cargo theft right at their front dock, right? That's what we do. But we've realized right now the environment is not focused too much towards that. It's starting to get there, the awareness, the education, the compliance pressure from Duffy, different things like that are, of course, we'll see what the Supreme Court does with the case here next month. So while that's still going on, we also wanted to provide some efficiency features and really like work hands-on with the shipper. So tons of shipping managers, interviews, industry connections we've done is really how we've gathered so much insight to what we actually want to build, so that we're not building that next piece of technology that is paid for, signed a year contract, and just sits there and then never used again. And so that's been one of the biggest things, is saying, hey, can I buy you lunch? Let me just show you our demo. Can I just chat with you, not just about our demo, but also what do you need as a shipper on a day-to-day basis? That's kind of how this is to the drivers and brokers that are listening. If you guys have shippers, we have a verified driver check-in. So the check-in process kind of merged with our cargo theft prevention mindset. And that's actually what we got from a local customer. They were like, oh, we could use this as our check-in as well. And so that's kind of where we merged the two together. So prevention and still providing them some efficiency. We don't call ourselves an efficiency platform, but the reality is you might need to nudge the shippers, as we're doing with our awareness and education and conferences, like we were just at the Driver Legitimacy Summit. That's what we're ultimately trying to do, right? We're like, dang it, shippers should be doing X, Y, and Z. But okay, we can complain about it all we want, but we gotta we gotta like give them reasons to act on something they should already be acting on, and we can just swallow the pride and the ego, and we can shake our fists at the shippers all day, but we just have to start providing them with practical tools so they can start to ease into that behavior and hopefully see cargo theft actually go down. The reported cargo theft numbers, I get it, there's lots of unreported, but FreightWaves just said it was 740 million for 2025, and it was in the 400s for 2024. So what's working, what's not working, but I don't know. So
and those are just reported numbers, and I look at CargoNet and the numbers they report, and I have a great deal of respect for the guys over at CargoNet and the work that they do. But I laugh every time I see the report come out, because let's face it, how many people are actually reporting the stuff? Between shippers and brokers, no one wants to damage their own brand by sitting there and saying, we had a truckload stolen from us, but they don't want people to walk away. It's, we don't want to use you and all this. They won't hear that. They also don't want to see their insurance rates go up and stuff of that nature. And that is why you get a lot of the stuff that's unreported. And it is such a huge problem for fraud fighters like me, because you can't get a full picture of how bad the situation really is, because it is really bad right now. And what platforms like yours does is it actually provides that essential link to give the broker real-time information as to who is actually showed the hell up. Because I know when I was a shipper, way back before I started thinking about what brokers deal with and what carriers deal with and all that, I did not stop to think too much about this. I was like, okay, I know who the carrier's supposed to be. Is the name right on the truck? Yeah. Okay. Get a copy of their driver's license. And then I was done. Okay. I mean, they verified with a pickup number, and I thought everything was great. Okay. Boy, man, did I learn all I do. Now, what is it that you guys actually try to verify at the pickup location from the drivers? Well, what information are you looking for out of them?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So we're starting with mainly the driver's identity. We really at the front gate or at the shipper's plexiglass check-in spot, we want them to be able to know for certain that the driver's ID matches the person's face who's actually there, and that it's not a spoofed result that they sent to their broker ahead of time through like a digital portal. And that was really our big focus to start, because that was the easiest attainable, is to get that implemented into our process. And there's other things we're working on, like we've integrated recently with Freight Validate, where it gives us a little bit more of that comprehensive look into the actual carrier's identity and compliance checks. So that's really the next step, is identifying that front. And with Andy Sharp, combining forces with Freight Validate, we'll be able to start doing COI checks even, and try and include that in our flow for the drivers to really capitalize on that safety aspect there. And then we also have means of doing what we can to verify as many points that we can within a simple, easy check-in flow. We don't,
the biggest point being in real time, like
in real
hey,
time,
the driver is physically at your front door, and all these validation points are being checked.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, so that's the big front, is just making sure that all the pre-checks and everything that happens ahead of time is really what's happening when the driver's arriving. And really how I guess I see this product growing in the future is being an integration point, is being that collaboration central point of collaboration that other partners can partner with us to really provide not only value to shippers, but we have we have intention to build things for brokers and intention to build things for carriers to keep everybody safe. But really the first domino that has to fall, it has to be the shipper. The shippers have to get engaged.
Yeah, I'll say the point about, because obviously I know we're probably speaking to an audience, mostly brokers, carriers, and drivers. Even though we're only selling to shippers as of today, if you guys have a shipper, obviously reach out to us. We can, put our contact info once we wrap up. But if you reach out to us and say you've got a shipper that already enforces strong SOPs or makes you guys do certain things, when you go to get checked in, reach out to us. We'd be happy to, give you a free trial for a certain portion of time. And like Eric said, eventually it's supposed to enhance the full ecosystem. Obviously, just broadly speaking, shipper, broker, carrier. Obviously, there's lots of other components, but the main core of it, because when I was booking loads as a trucking company, I was like, man, just one report and I'm like going to be screwed if something bad happens at all. So as a carrier, we obviously know thinking about protecting our identity. And so it will be a value add to you to recommend to your shipper. And obviously we might be able to kick you back something as well as an incentive to you carriers and brokers that do have those shipper relationships. So.
Well, we always did say that this industry should be built on relationships. So yeah, if any of you carriers and brokers out there have shippers who might be interested in something that these guys are doing, let us know. You can always reach out to me directly through any of our social media, and I can get you in connection with Alex and Eric to make that introduction and to get that stuff squared away for you. But I'll tell you, guys, you're finally getting your big break. And I think your big break is coming up here in Kansas City at the Broker Carrier Summit. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually, speaking of relationships. Yeah, speaking of relationships, so we were down at a conference a couple weeks ago, and Dan Lindsay just respect the hell out of the dude. Just immediately when I met him, you can tell he means business. His word means something. Like, he shook our hands, was like, we'd like to implement you guys as the event check-in for a Broker Carrier Summit for all upcoming. So I think we've got Kansas City in April, Dallas in October, maybe Indy. I don't want to say his dates wrong, so I won't even try, but Indy and then Orlando. So I don't know exactly those timeframes, but we'll be at all four. And as you guys come in, any broker carrier attending, you'll actually get to see, to a degree, it'll be a slightly different product since it's going to be event check-in, and it'll capture, and if you have a DOT number, you'll enter your DOT number, and we'll have a demo. We'll promote it along with Broker Carrier Summit marketing team. But yeah, so they'll get to experience what a driver would see as they show up at their shipper, and we'll have a full display, and we'll be there probably with our matching polos, just like we are now, me and Eric, and a couple other people from our team. So it's really exciting. So actually, Eric is the guy who met Dan just at a networking event. So Eric actually initially made that, and we had help from Dale. Don't want to forget Dale. Dale was great on pushing that to get us to collaborate together. So appreciate that, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. And actually, there's now question. I told you guys before I'm going to be in Kansas City. There's now question as to whether or not that's happening. So I don't remember BCS this time.
I may or may not have an extra credit card for barbecue expenses for guests with John's name on it. Don't get too carried away, everyone. Maybe just John, but that is possible.
Yeah, let's see how many people out of the woodwork named John Cantera. I only know one other so far, but
the John Cantera.
We'll see. I really want to get the chance to actually meet you guys in person and see how all this plays out. And I really was hoping I could actually get to BCS and watch you guys demo the product as people are checking in for the conference, because I think that's a huge opportunity, and it's going to give at least brokers and carriers the idea as to what it is you're trying to do to help secure things on the front end at the pickup location. And now, if we can just get shippers to start showing up to these things, then I think you've got an absolute home run. But that is a huge break already. I'm hoping that there are brokers out there who see this, who see the vision that you guys are trying to portray, and go to their shippers and say, hey, look, you need to talk to these guys, because if we can do this, then we can make sure that you never get another truckload stolen again. And that is something I think that's worth a lot of money to people, whether they know it or not. Those squirrely shippers out there, whether they know it or not, it's going to happen. One of the things I love about Jeff, Jeff says many times he's never had been a victim of fraud in all of his shipping operations that he's done for the last some 40 years. Okay. It's a miracle. He's one of the only people I know of who's been in the industry that long who can sit there and say that. But the reason is because of process. It's because of process. And most people do not have the refined processes that somebody like Jeff has. I mean, let's face it, Jeff sat there and built the pyramids. Okay. So when you've been around logistics that long, you know what the heck you're doing. But a lot of these logistics managers that are out there today, they just came out of college in the last few years. They've got no freaking clue. They really don't. So until they burn, they have no idea what to look for in these kinds of things. So when you are working on demoing your product, what is it that you're really looking to see? What type of feedback are you really looking to hear from these drivers and brokers coming out of BCS? What are you really looking for out of these guys?
Eric, you can share first. So take yours.
Yeah. We're looking for really any feedback. As a startup, we're in the space of growing and trying to refine our product as best we can. And if you have a particular lens, into the shipper world, and you think you can help us refine anything to make it easier for the driver, or even long-term thought on like what we can provide to the broker, or even maybe you've had these conversations with your shipper about what they are already doing, and maybe you've seen our process, or we have a conversation and you think we're missing a critical point of our product. Tell us. We're young, hungry, and ready to grow and do the things we need to do to make sure we're really contributing to the major problem of cargo theft and freight fraud. We're open to any and all suggestions, and any kind of feedback will go a long way into building this product to what it needs to be, not what everybody would want it to be. So
I would say one thing that I forgot to mention was a big part of us doing this is to keep, as we're promoting prevention of cargo theft and freight fraud, we can't have the bad actors showing up to events. So that was kind of part of it. So definitely want to see that. Make sure that we know you are a broker or carrier, so that we know who's actually attending these. So that's first and foremost. But yeah, on a practical basis, like as you guys get checked in, because again, we'll be at probably more than just BCS, fingers crossed, other events too. But as you're getting checked in, think about, if you're not already a driver, okay, I'm a driver showing up. Is it easy to get in? What's the workflow look like? What's it feel like? Is it going to be a hindrance? Just how smooth is that process? So think about it when you're getting checked in through that lens. Like, okay, could I now show this to my shipper and say, look how simple this is? Because that's what we're looking for. We talked about tech that's too complicated, that doesn't really fit the world of freight and the workflow. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for, obviously, very powerful on the prevention side, but simplistic, and the UI being very fluid. So would love to get, and we'll have cards at the event that will be with a code that if you mention that to us and you have a shipper that's interested, then we'll make sure we get that kickback to you. We'll get more specifics on that to that individual broker, not necessarily your brokerage, but if it's you individual, like you're a broker rep, we'll make sure you get compensated in some form as well as a thank you. And of course, those drivers and carriers that have those shipper, maybe you run the same lane for a few different shippers, or you have those relationships, we'll make sure to have physical cards for you when we leave that event. So
yeah, you guys, I've said this every time I've ever met with you guys. It's probably the most promising concept that I've come across in a long time in dealing with this industry. I've been a broker, I've been a driver, I've owned trucks, been a dispatcher, and now do a bunch of consulting. I've seen this from just about every possible lens that exists within the industry. I've run warehouses, port facilities. I mean, you name it, I've done it. And you guys seem to have the one piece of all the tech that I've come across in the last 10 years, the one piece that seems to marry everything together that actually makes sense, which is one of the reasons why I've been following you guys as long as I have. And I've always been so excited anytime I get the chance to talk to you about your product and your vision as to how this is going to grow. I just get more and more excited every time we talk. You guys going to BCS is awesome. And again, I'm so pissed I'm not going this time. I am so frustrated about that. But, it's okay because I know you guys are going to do well there. And I know that your demo is going to go off without a hitch. What I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for the shipper to call me and sit there and say, "Hey, I heard about those guys. I've talked to them, and but boy, you're right. This thing's great." So how long do you think it's going to be before we finally hear that from a shipper? I can't wait.
Yeah, depends on how well they're loving it right now. So I mean, we've thought about hosting once we have the guys that are, the early pilots that are using us right now, like have them do, because we've got some venue space out here in Kansas City. So it's something we've thought about, hosting and having our current clients like do videos there or invite people. So yeah, that's definitely on the radar. And I'm kind of following the Dan Lindsay mindset when he's talking about getting people in person. I mean, it really does make a difference when you can shake Dale's hand and you're like, oh, this guy who I've seen who's leading the way on LinkedIn and making so much difference just in a digital microphone. When you get in person at these places, it's like, it feels tangible. I mean, it really, I mean, it is a different experience. I mean, just think about going to a football game or basketball game, watching on TV versus going. It really is something different that's happening in your brain. And when you get in a room with people that, really do care. Obviously, we were there trying to promote our product. Obviously, we're promoting our product in the private market. But if I had it my way, let's say we solve cargo theft, which I know it's kind of a utopia dream, but like we would love to become something else. I mean, we've been in the freight space, we can adjust, we can grow. So we'd love to just solve it for the industry so we could get back to solving like real business problems for people. And obviously that might become an arm of what we do, but yes, would love to stop the cargo theft situation. And these in-person trade shows, conferences, I think have really, really helped a lot getting those conversations going. So
the best thing I ever did was I was at Matt's last year, and that really opened my eyes as to the power of being able to shake somebody's hand and what you can get done. That was actually the first time I met Dale face to face. First time I met some guys over at FMCSA. So I completely understand where you're coming from there. Yet to meet Dan. Dying to get into a room with him at some point, but I will at some point. Eric, sorry, I cut you off. Go for it.
No, yeah. I was just gonna say, we really are treating our on-site, our team is treating this problem like a national emergency. It's something. I mean, at least in my mind, like we see all of the accidents and stuff taking place, and not all of them are necessarily by bad actors or anyone necessarily trying to do bad, or but the reality is we as an economy, talking about America, not just the freight industry, but we as an economy really have to take notice at what's going on. Something about that I highlighted in the DLS, the Driver Legitimacy Summit, is that communication is severely lacking between a lot of fronts, not just integrations, but like real communication, education, those fronts are really bad. And when you as an economy have communication that's poor in the logistics industry, those are, if we're looking at this from like a war front perspective, what's the first thing an enemy wants to take out? Your communication and your logistics. If they can take that out, they can cripple you. And so it's just, at this front, it's like we really have to take this problem seriously. It's growing. Alex pointed to the $700 million figure, but the real fallout of this is somewhere in the realm of 15 to 30 billion. And I think I saw someone predicting that by 2027 we could see the total impact being closer to 50 billion. And so this problem is it's a huge issue. It's not to be overlooked in any real way by anybody who hasn't been impacted by it, because the reality is if the trend continues, you will eventually be impacted by this. Either because the freight never got to you the way it was supposed to. If you're a receiver, a shipper, you may think your loads are delivering, and as far as you're aware they are, but at the end of your customer taking stock of what they actually have, they may realize, oh my God, we're missing 20 plus shipments that were supposed to come here. Where are all these shipments over the last, I think I heard a report of like someone had moved several loads over the course of like 9 months and with the same like carrier, right? And none of them ever even got there. And so, it's like the communication aspect is just awful on that front. Yeah.
I mean, just take a simple example of when a driver does show up at a dock. I mean, I've been in as a carrier, you have the group email of the broker, saying, hey, is your driver there? I call the driver. Yes, he is. Hey, this dock guy tell me this, but they're talking to their customer who's not even at the shipping location physically. And it's like, you're playing this telephone, email, tag. No, he is there. Well, I'm seeing on his GPS, the communication, I mean, you have 5, 6, 7 hands in the cookie jar. So yeah, communication is a extreme bottleneck, I would say, even on a simplistic level. So
yeah, I've actually gotten to the point with some clients dealing with problem motor carriers. I tell the client, hey, you know what? Don't even talk to him anymore. I'm talking to him. And then I'm sitting there, I'm just texting the guy, having just regular conversations, regular old Joes. And I find out talking to him that, there actually is no fraud actually taking place. What it is that some guy's upset because his wife is sick or his kid is sick or something, and he just dropped the ball on something and he's scrambling, trying to sort stuff out. Like, hey, man, I get it, completely understand. So what's your plan to try to fix this? What do we got to do to fix this? And I'm finding that good communication skills is so lacking in this industry because, as you guys point out, it's all instant. Everyone wants everything right now. Got to be, we got Descartes with MacroPoint, and you got all the other trackers that are sitting out there. You've got all this information overflow that's coming from all these different tech sources, going everywhere. Okay, great. Stop for a second. Breathe. What are you doing with the information? Are you actually working with the information and developing your processes around your information, or is the information your process? And I think we've gotten to a point in this industry where we've got such an overload of info coming in that everyone thinks info is a process, and it's not.
They think just more is better no matter what. And no, you get to a certain point where, an 8-ounce cup can only fit 8 ounces in it. Right. And so that water just keeps it's only holding 8 ounces. So that's exactly what I was telling Jeff earlier about. I think the biggest aha moment through learning the last year and a half, and why we've kind of been going slower with our industry contacts, making sure we're actually building something the shipper really wants, really has nothing to do with tech. It has been to do with those two things. What are your operations actually look like on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis? And then plus the SOP and the communication. Like, okay, the shipping manager, tells the floor manager something? Or does the shipping manager leave his office, run out? Does he load trucks too? Or does he just stay in the office? So understanding those operations from that shipper point of perspective, without the tech first. And then, like you said, add in the tech to couple with it. So yeah, you're right on point with that for sure. So
I think eventually we're going to learn how to better manage a tech stack in terms of managing our own processes. And I think that's where the key is going to be in trying to deal with this in the future. And while we're still confused, though, that is where the scammers are going to continue to keep hitting us over and over again, like they do. And they're going to keep hitting us with new and better attacks all the time. That's one of the things I like about what you guys are doing. What you guys are doing, you guys put a stop at pretty much every conceivable option of attack that exists out there, because who is actually picking up the cargo is always the question on everyone's mind. Who's actually there? Because as a broker, I've got no freaking clue. I'm not sitting there, and even if they're FaceTiming me, unless I'm seeing the shipping clerk in the FaceTimes, then they're exchanging the pickup number and all that stuff. I really don't know. I mean, my favorite scam that I've seen is the poor broker, brand new broker, okay, who is cultivating a relationship with this guy he thinks is a shipper, turns out to be a scammer. And after a couple of months of cultivating that relationship, okay, I'm starting to send you loads. Here come the flood of releases. He's like, hey, dude, I've got a carrier for you. Just onboard this carrier, give him the work. We like him. We just don't want to deal with the regulatory BS, okay? Sure, no problem. So they onboard the carrier, and they start giving the carrier these loads. BOLs start coming back. Invoices start coming. Invoices get paid out. Everything's good. 30 days go by. Okay, shipper, time to pay me. You owe me about 600 grand here. Come on, buddy. Come on. And crickets.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Crickets. And the worst part is there was never any freight.
Yeah.
Never any freight. So verification at the shipper, I think, has always been the weakest point. And
well, we had
solve that is the issue.
I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to say one thing here, and then I do got to split.
You have a hard 12. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Oh. So just real fast, I got to drop out. You guys go as long as you need to. Love the conversation. Thanks again, John. Check us out. Verify onsite sight.com. Scroll down to the bottom if you want a demo. Otherwise, talk to John, and then he'll connect you with us. But thank you, guys. I'll catch you later.
Okay. Yeah. Again, because of the fire in the kitchen, we
I had a Wi-Fi issue to start the meeting, so definitely not you too. But no, last thing I was going to say, piggybacking on what you're saying, we did a demo with a potential client with 27 warehouses, pretty big operation. Literally, I think they're still in the getting things set up type phase, so they haven't officially launched. But literally, right after we did the demo, they had someone call in. And I don't know, actually, the definitions you might have, I don't know if this is the definition of a fictitious pickup. Maybe it is, because I always get those terms. But they called in and they had someone claim that they are already picked up a load from their warehouse. And he had so he's like, I have it with me. And he was very descriptive, knew stuff about the warehouse that really you wouldn't know unless you've been there. And so he was claiming, and the owner of the company almost sent out money. Like, he was this close to doing it. Thank God he didn't. Maybe I'm just trying to be arrogant and say maybe because of our demo and our conversation, maybe tipped him off to think maybe he didn't actually take the load. So thank God he didn't send the money, but someone that just knew the warehouse flow could describe certain things that you wouldn't know unless you'd been there. So, oh yeah, I got a load of yours, and if you want it back, I need X amount of dollars. And so thank God he didn't send that. But you're right, creating like digital footprints, digital stamps with pictures, images. Obviously, we've got lots of different routes we want to go. But for now, we're trying to stay focused, capturing that carrier identity at the dock, and then being kind of like what Eric said, that central hub of integration points to connect with law enforcement, third party, like a Genlogs. Obviously, we're already integrated with Freight Validate. So that is the goal, and that's what we're going with. And yeah, BCS is coming up soon, just 2 months away. So we're pretty excited about that for sure.
I'm looking forward to see what kind of results you guys get out of BCS. Again, I wish I was there to actually see it, but I've got high hopes for what you guys are going through there. Since we're up here at the top of the hour, I know we need to start. Go ahead and wrap this up. Any final plugs? Any comments or something you want to go ahead and throw out there?
Gosh, we did say a lot there. I mean, realistically, if you've got an opportunity to attend BCS, definitely come up, shake my hand. Let me know if you guys know about any conferences, trade shows, something that you think we should be at, or you think we should connect with the people that are running it. I think what Dan kind of saw the vision for was, if we're going to be talking about fraud and cargo theft prevention, and where that's going to be our mantra, the people that want to take that up to not just do it just for profits, but do it for protecting the industry, we need to start at events. So seeing people step up like that is amazing. I've had great conversations with like Avante Jackson, CDL Shorty, who wants to promote just driver visibility. And so if you have any kind of personal connection or just angle or something you want to chat about, reach out to me. My email's alex@verify on site, again, spelled SIGHT.com. But other than that, this has been awesome. Hope to do another podcast, maybe post BCS with you, and keep you up to date with our pilots and our current customers, and maybe even get someone on here eventually and get their feedback as well as a shipper that has been using it. Could be something cool. So
no, I would definitely love to do that. Just let me know when you think you might be able to arrange that, if any of your customers are willing, and
Yep.
I will definitely carve out a time to make that happen. Again, I've got huge respect for what it is that you and Eric are doing. I think you guys have a very strong solution to the problem. It may not solve it all, but it's going to be a big chunk. I think you can go a long way. So I wish you the absolute best of luck. We'll catch up with you, I'm sure, after BCS and get a follow-up report. I'm very much looking forward to it. With
Absolutely.
that being said, folks, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. As I told you before, we're taking care of the check on this one, but please make sure you tip out your server. We will see you again next week on the TikTok Diner. Take care, folks.